Welcome to Story Time with Miss Gray. Today's story is called Santa is Coming to the Carolinas. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from the Carolinas been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of North and South Carolina had sent him. Mostly, asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack into one little sleigh, even they didn't know. But somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Not quite, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight. I've called him, but just then a young reindeer strolled up, munching on a large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. The youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa Navigator and tapped in the coordinates for the Carolinas. This will guide us to the Carolinas in no time. Crunch, 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 said the reindeer. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. We'll soon have the presents delivered to the Carolinas. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, heading south across the Arctic Ocean. On they flew in the wintry air above Quebec. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying over Virginia and on to North Carolina. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They had just crossed over the Blue Ridge Mountains when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled across the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa knave in a bossy latest voice, keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this snow. And soon they were hopelessly lost. Then through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding, dong, ding, dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Red nose, I wonder who that could be. Ding, dong, ding, dong. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off toward the sound of the bells, pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. Whoa, cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. Well done, young reindeer, he shouted cheerfully. It must be the bells of St. Patrick's Cathedral in Charlotte. Don't worry, children, Santa's coming. Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. You have arrived at your destination, said the Santa knave unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down and the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were, stuck right at the top of the Bank of America building. Everybody pull! The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the tower and Santa steered them safely through uptown, above West 4th Street, past the Carolina Panther Stadium, and down into Frazier Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had been all jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted the presents into order again. "All right," said Santa, "thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children, Santa's coming." Santa drove his sleigh from rooftop to rooftop all over the Carolinas, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could go, which was pretty fast for a chubby fellow. There were big chimneys in Charleston and small chimneys in Rayford. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Asheville and plummeted down fat chimneys in Fayetteville. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in the Carolinas were going to be very lucky this year. But the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a little bit weary and quite hungry, too. In house after house, Santa delved into inside each sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of the Carolinas had left out a large plate of cookies, a small glass of milk, and a big crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie, a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Chapel Hill to Pawleys Island, from Durham to Hilton Head, from Pittsburgh to Myrtle Beach, and all the places in between, Santa and his sleigh visited every house in the Carolinas. Santa delivered presents to Andrew and Allison and Anna and Arabelle and Archie and Ashley. The list went on, and Zach and Zora and Zeb and Zoe. Finally, Santa had delivered the last present on his long Carolinas list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. Santa divided the carrots among all the reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy munching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa Navigator once more to the North Pole, and soon they were speeding above Winston-Salem, past Columbia, and off toward the ocean through the crisp, starry sky. "Ho, ho, ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Carolinas." The end. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.